Good morning, everyone. Welcome to BBC Breakfast. I'm Duis Yassin, and here are the headlines for you this morning. The consequences of the spread of the virus in our country and how financial markets react to the departure from the European Union. Then we're going to see what it's really like to ski when during a pandemic, when some mountains, resorts, leaders, ski centers are having their best winter conditions in years. Finally, we'll go more into detail with the civil war in Syria, where different groups are trying to seize control of the country. Also in this program, we're going to learn how to prepare salary and sweet dishes with must-learn skills and basics of cookery. In fact, the second wave of the pandemic could cause more economic damage than the first one, but the rollout of vaccine will help the economy bounce back. Then we'll evoke the results of Brexit on the financial markets and the value of the Bitcoin. Now let's turn to our specialist, Mr. I. So are there some reasons for hope today?
Hello, Mr. Doris. Of course there is hope. Several vaccines are going to be allowed in the UK. They are already free. A fourth one from Moderna company must be accredited in a few days. Moreover, almost 20 million of people have made their first injection, so approximately more than 1/3 of the population. And that makes employees more confident. For instance, a survey showed that 60% of working persons will be ready to go back to work if they had the chance. For the moment, we can only be optimistic and the future must be on our side. Now, let's talk about stocks. Indeed, Brexit continues to wreak havoc on the British economy. The city, the first economic place in Europe for several decades, has been overtaken by Amsterdam. In 1 month, share transactions have risen from 14 billion to 8 billion euros each day in London, unlike Amsterdam, which have reached 9 billion of transactions a day on average. But do we need to worry? Minister of the Economy, Rishi Sunak, said that he's going to attend a meeting with his advisor to lighten tax rules so that investment banks continue to pass through the city for stock market transactions. He added that even if part of the transactions are gone, they may well come back. Now about Bitcoin. The growth of Bitcoin is historic. His value is going through the roof. By increasing from 10,000 to 40,000 euros in only 4 months, the Bitcoin is enjoying many banks and investors. Even if it's used to being very volatile, BlackRock, the biggest multinational investment management company, is currently investing several billions in it. Now we can ask ourselves a question. Is Bitcoin a speculative bubble like subprimes, or will it reach more than 300,000 euros as many experts say? Only the future will tell us.
Thank you, Robin. Also in this program, the pandemic cuts ski season short, so guests have to curb their expectations and to face a newer reality of skiing and snowboarding nowadays. Obviously, things are going to be a little bit different this year due to the virus. How business correspondent Mr. Daru was in Le Grand Bornand in the French department Haute-Savoie, and he will share us few images of the stations and what we can expect for those of us who can eat the slopes again.
Another sector among many others impacted by the COVID-19. About 10% of the French population practice ski every winter. We talk about more than 1 billion euros by year for the French economy. How have the ski resorts adapted? At Le Grand Bornand in Haute-Savoie, we came to see consequences. With 2,000 residents on the year, this little village depends really on the season incomes by hosting about 20,000 tourists every year. Alpine skiing represents about 90% of the practice of winter sports. Far beyond, there are other activities like cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, ice skating or bobsleigh, but the French government has forbidden ski lift, and that's a real problem to do alpine skiing. Except if you're a professional skier or a minor part of a ski club, you can't use the ski lift. So what's the plan? Forgot your winter holidays? Just make other things? The opinions are divided. You want to go alpine skiing, but you are in France and you can't. But if you live near Switzerland, you can cross the border and there you can hit the slopes as you like so much. This is the choice made by a lot of French to counter the situation. For those passionate by the alpine skiing, practice other activities seems like impossible. But if you like the snow, the landscape, and the physical efforts don't afraid you, you have the choice to have a great winter holidays. Indeed, this year the ski area has seen the amount of cross-country ski rental increase significantly. So much that the rental shop didn't expect and they were not ready. That is how they were out of stock everywhere in the resort. For the first time, finding a pair of skis was an impossible mission. Faced with this, the rental shops chose different alternatives. Don't change anything, first come first served basis. If you come at time you can have your skis for the week, but someone proposed to rent day by day, or worse, per half day. We could see every day people lining up to take skis. The rental stores were clearly in front of a problem they have never had before. If you are lucky one with your skis, you can cross the slopes. Amateur or expert, classic or skating, you can enjoy the sensation of gliding and look at really beautiful landscapes. And after your efforts, you will appreciate a good meal, taste the specialties of the area, they have really good cheese. Winter holidays is not just skiing. The atmosphere in the ski resorts, the food, the cottages, all of that makes the charm of this area. And despite the situation, you can find your happiness here. So, in the end, ski resorts are not to be pitied and managed to get by rather well despite the situation.
But now we join Theo, our correspondent report from Damas. He will tell us more about the civil war in Syria and what's going to happen next few hours.
Here, the war continues in some Syrian areas held by rebels or by Daesh, and the situation continues to deteriorate. We are in Idlib in the northwestern Syria, one of the last rebel-held places in the country. The government of Damascus is close to launch a new assault to regain the control of the city. A new terrorist attack took place a few hours ago with an explosion near the city centers. Yesterday, a United Nations report on the Idlib situations was released. Across the country, famine is on the rise, but this is more particularly true in Idlib. With a salary at the same level of African countries, but with purchase prices estimated to be equivalent to those of Europe, it becomes very difficult for the population to eat properly. Lack of supplies is also an aggravating factor. The report also highlights a major health problems linked to oil exploitations in the region. Indeed, refining is not done properly. Idlib governorate is in an unstable situation, so experts and other engineers run away. Many people continue to flee Syria, especially the population of Idlib. They leave to go to Turkey, Jordan, etc. But some countries no longer welcome them or make them live in tents. An estimated 3 to 5 million Syrian refugees are today in Syria and neighboring countries. Many Syrians didn't originally want to leave their country. For young people, it is about fleeing compulsory military service and avoid being killed on the battlefield. The older ones leave because they have nothing left. Many didn't have much before the war, and with the start of it, they have even less. Others are afraid of being massacred by Daesh. They are essentially Christians or religious minorities, but there are also Muslims who are opposed to their extreme view of Islam. We have collected the testimony of Anas, a Syrian from Idlib who went to France a few years ago. My name is Anas. I am from Idlib. Now I am 22 years old. And 6 years ago, I left Syria with my family to not do my military service. In my country, because of the situations, the army recruit at 16 to undergo an intensive training until we were 18, and then we were sent to die on the front line. I love France, the country that welcomed me, but one day I would like the situation in Syria to calm down, so that I could go back there. In a few hours ago, will begin the start of a long and intense battles for the control of Idlib and its surroundings.
Up to half 7, more heavy snow for certain parts of the UK as the horribly cold weather continues. Let's go more on this with all the details from our BBC weather presenter Jules. Jules, so good morning, how are you? What's going to happen next few hours?
Hello Yassine and welcome everyone for the weather forecast of the day. Today we will talk about the cold spell that is affecting the country. Indeed, the snowstorms have stopped in some parts of the United Kingdom and more precisely from Norwich to Edinburgh and all over the eastern part of the UK. The traffic was able to normal in this region. Unfortunately, in the north of Highland to Belfast, the situation is getting worse and worse. The temperature continues to fall sharply. The last night, a peak of cold at minus 25 degrees was recorded. This cold spell is expected to affect the country for one other week, then descend southbound in the direction of north of the France. For next week, the temperature will rise notably to Glasgow with a bite of rain at the end of the week. We can see the anticyclone moving down from north to down without droughts. This anticyclone will bring back with better temperature in the next few days. In London today the temperature will be quite cool before a small rise in the next few days. However, you still need to be careful on the road that still be iced. The Wales is still the only nation that remains untouched by this cold spell. In Cardiff, the temperature is seasonal with 12 degrees in the morning and 20 degrees in the afternoon. Tomorrow is the 7th March, the Grandmother Days. Think about it. I will give the floor to Yassine in a few seconds, but in the waiting of spring, take care of yourself, go out covered, and see you soon.
In this program also today we're going to learn how to prepare salary and sweet dishes with must-learn skills and basics of cookery. So we are going to see 3 different recipes. So now let's start with the first one.
Hello, we decided to prepare a fish papillote. For this, I have prepared my shopping list. We need 1 tomato, 1 carrot, 1 onion, olive oil, and to finish 1 cup fillet. So we will start with tomato. For the tomato, we need a ripe tomato, but too much measure. We are obliged to take one of Morocco because in French it's not the time. I think this one is not very well. So this perfect. For the carrots, it must be firm to the touch, and it's better to take big carrots for a sweet taste. So I think this one is very rare. And to finish about vegetables, we are missing the onion. The onion must be firm with skinny, spotless, and layers of skins. This one inspires me very well. About the olive oil, I decided to take this one because it's strong in taste and will be perfect for our dish. And the most important in our fish, the cod, we are going to take a frozen fish, but be careful, we are going to take 100% fish and not modified fish, So I think this one will be perfect. So we will finish for a fabulous recipe the fish papillote. Now let's see how to cook it.
Hello everyone, it's Lucille and today I'm going to cook with Estelle. She's behind the camera. Today we are going to realize a delicious dish. It's fish foiled and rice. For this recipe we need a cod fillet, 1 carrot, 1 onion and 3 little tomatoes. Also for the rice we need 8 tablespoons of rice, a cube of chicken stock and some cheese. And also we need a little olive oil, salt and pepper.
Firstly, pour water in a saucepan. Add a cup of chicken stock for more flavor and a little salt. We are going to take a cutting board to cut into pieces of onion, carrot and tomatoes. Before we have to wash and peel onion, tomatoes and carrots.
When the water boils, pour the rice. And stir.
After we preheat the oven to 400 Fahrenheit. Meanwhile, drain the rice. Cheese like pecorino.
Add a sheet of aluminium and place the fish and vegetables. Season, add a little olive oil, salt and pepper. Finally, close the sheet of aluminium and put it in the oven. We bake for 20 minutes. Here is our dish. Thank you to watching us.
And the best for last, I'm sure you will appreciate the chocolate cake made by our team.
For my part, I will take you with me to get the ingredients for our great dessert. To prepare our chocolate tart, we will first need a puff pastry. Be careful, don't confuse with other pastry. So, I will take this, it's perfect. After, I need chocolate. So I take 1 bar of chocolate. It's better to take pastry chocolate to prevent the tart from being too disgusting.
Now we'll go get a bag of sugar.
So I take this, of course take the cheapest. The brand doesn't a lot of importance in our recipe, right? Now we are going to take the eggs. We only need 2 eggs, but the minimum is 6. So I take this. And finally we'll go get a bottle of milk. I take this, it's perfect. Now I'm going to let my classmates show you how to make our chocolate tarts.
So I'm going to make a chocolate tart. For this I need 1 puff pastry, chocolate, milk, eggs and sugar. First, before we start, I will preheat the oven to 200 degrees. Then I will melt the chocolate in the microwave that I cut into small pieces so that it melts faster. Then I mix in a bowl the eggs, adding the sugar, and a little milk. I roll out the puff pastry, putting the melted chocolate in the bottom. I add the egg mixture that I have prepared before. To finish, I'm going to put the chocolate tart in the oven for about 25 minutes. Here is the result, beautiful chocolate tart, but I don't recommend that you do it again at home.
Well, that's all for the moment. Thank you for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here with great videos, contents every day, anytime. We thank you for watching and we'll see you tomorrow in the morning at the same time. It was Louis Yassine for BBC Breakfast.